Think of your home network like your bedroom. Your computer, phone, and other devices are like your toys and gadgets that you play with in your room. But just like how you need to interact with people outside your room, your devices need to interact with other devices and websites on the internet. In order to do that, they need a way to communicate with the internet. That's where NAT, Network Address Translation, comes in. It's like having a telephone in your room that connects you to people outside your room. NAT allows your devices to communicate with the internet by translating the private IP addresses assigned to your devices to public IP addresses that can be used on the internet. Now let's talk about AWS NAT Gateways and NAT Instances. Imagine you have a lot of devices in your room that need to communicate with the internet, and you need a way to handle all that traffic. You could use a regular telephone, like a NAT instance, to connect to the internet. But if you have a lot of devices, the telephone might get overwhelmed and cause delays. Instead, you could use a bigger telephone system, like a NAT gateway, that can handle a lot more traffic. It's like having a bigger telephone with multiple lines that can handle many people calling at once. A NAT gateway can handle a lot of traffic from many devices and can automatically scale up or down based on the amount of traffic. This way, your devices can communicate with the internet quickly and efficiently. So, that's what AWS NAT Gateways and NAT Instances are all about. They help your devices communicate with the internet by translating private IP addresses to public IP addresses and can help handle large amounts of traffic efficiently. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. Now let's discuss them in more detail. First, let's talk about what NAT is. NAT stands for Network Address Translation, and it's used to translate private IP addresses into public IP addresses. This allows devices on a private network to communicate with the internet. But which one should you use? A NAT gateway or a NAT instance? Don't worry, we got you covered. Let's start with NAT instances. NAT instances are essentially virtual machines that you launch in your VPC. You can configure them to perform NAT by forwarding traffic from private subnets to the internet using an elastic IP address. NAT instances give you more control over the configuration and allow you to customize the software running on them. However, you're responsible for the maintenance and management of these instances. So if you're comfortable with managing your infrastructure and want more control, then NAT instances may be the way to go. On the other hand, if you don't want to worry about managing your NAT infrastructure, then NAT gateways may be a better option. NAT gateways are fully managed services that you can use to enable outbound internet connectivity for resources in private subnets. They're highly available, scalable, and fault-tolerant. This means that you don't have to worry about maintenance, patches, or updates. AWS takes care of all of that for you. However, you don't have as much control over the configuration as you would with NAT instances. So, if you're looking for a hassle-free NAT solution and don't require a lot of customization, then NAT gateways may be the way to go. It's also important to remember that things like security groups, port forwarding, and bastion hosts, none of which can be associated with NAT gateways, but can work well with NAT instances. Sometimes the exam will ask this, so it's good to remember. The gates are closed for groups, ports, or hosts. All right, now that we know the differences between NAT gateways and NAT instances, let's talk about some use cases for each. NAT instances are a good choice if you need to customize the NAT software or require more control over the configuration. They're also a good option if you have a limited budget and want to save costs. On the other hand, NAT gateways are a good choice if you need a highly available, scalable, and fault-tolerant solution without the hassle of managing infrastructure. They're also a good option if you have a larger budget and require more bandwidth. So, there you have it. The differences between NAT gateways and NAT instances, and some use cases for each. I hope this video was informative and helped you decide which one is right for you. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.